Hello there and welcome to Podgorica in Montenegro on the shores of the Adriatic Sea. This is the destination where England hope to take the final step towards qualification in Euro 2012. They need just a point here tonight against a surprise package of the group, Montenegro. Montenegro still have designs of their own on qualification. Adrian Healy and Robbie Mustoe here for commentary on ESPN. And well, England only need a point. This is why, Robbie, this is their final game in Group G.
Yeah, it is for England. I think they all know what they've got to do there. It's just a point that they need. For Montenegro, it gets a little bit more complicated. They could actually go through as winners if they win both their remaining games against England and then away in Switzerland. So it's nicely poised.
Now, in terms of who is definitely qualified for next summer's tournament, obviously the hosts Poland and Ukraine, and, well, the big guns have joined them, haven't they? Germany, Italy, Holland and Spain. Yeah,
and they did it very impressively, didn't they? And I think those four teams right there, they're going to be up there with the favourites, the big favourites to win this competition.
It is absolutely belting it down with rain here on the Adriatic coast in Podgorica. Should be a sterling nice football as England take their final step, they hope, towards Euro 2012. Montenegro trying to make life as uncomfortable as possible for the English big guns. Team news and kickoff coming up next. This is the Montenegro team news. Branko Brnovic in his first game in charge. He told us, Robbie, he was going to leave out three of their main protagonists, and he's been good to his word as well. No Milan Jovanovic, Marco Bassa or Nikola Drincic.
Yeah, there's 8 players that are going to be suspended for the last game if they pick up another yellow card. Those 3 players, I guess, the coach thinks are very important for that last game against Switzerland. Other than that, I mean, there are some good players in there, good attacking players in there. Certainly number 9, Mirko Vucinic, has recently moved to Juventus, is a very talented player, I think. And also Stefan Jovetic is going to be somebody to watch out for as well, playing in behind the striker.
The questions for England, Robbie, revolved around who was going to partner Wayne Rooney and who was going to play at right back.
Yeah, and it's Phil Jones, the player that's done so well at Manchester United, is going to play at right back, and Darren Bent is back in favour. He missed the last couple of games with injury, but I think Fabio Capello has taught us that he is loyal to players that he thinks has done well, and Darren Bent has done well. He's scored goals and he's going to play up front. Of course, Wayne Rooney is the main man for England now, and he has been for the last few years. An extremely talented player, is playing in his preferred position, I think, the number 10 role, just in behind Darren Bent.
It does mean no place in the England starting lineup for Frank Lampard. Interestingly, it's going to be Scott Parker and Gareth Barry who play together in central midfield. A lot of pace, as Robbie said, on the flanks for England tonight, with Ashley Young and Theo Walcott playing from the start. Can that Bent and Rooney combination get it going for England? They come here in search of the points that will take them to Poland and Ukraine. There is a scenario where if Montenegro win and then beat Switzerland in their last game, Montenegro could still finish above England. And England would have to go through the torturous route of the playoffs. Montenegro have designs on those playoffs and holding off the charge of Switzerland in the process. This is a meeting between one of the oldest footballing nations in the world and one of the youngest. England playing their 900th game in their nation's history tonight, and they're up against a team who only became a nation a little over 4 years ago. This tiny part of the former Yugoslavia down on the Adriatic coast, and they have been quite the surprise package. A team known as the Brave Falcons. Started off in fine fettle, didn't they? They were top of the group for quite a while, just tailed off in their last couple of games. A draw against Bulgaria and then a defeat in Wales, and that defeat cost Zlatko Kranjčar his job, rather surprisingly.
I was very surprised at it. I mean, tremendous start from there at the top of this group for a little while, and all of a sudden a couple of bad results, and the Wales one is a bad result, yes, but I'm very surprised they've switched their coach, particularly when they've still got a great chance of getting to the finals.
Interesting, their president Dejan Savicevic described the team as being in free fall and felt he had to make the switch, and he turned to Zlatko Kranjčar's assistant Branko Brnovic, who takes charge for the first time tonight. What a baptism it is as Phil Jones gets on the scene immediately, and his cross was mishandled, it looked, by Bozovic. It's a very wet and slippery surface and ball, I'm sure.
Well, this is what he can do, Phil Jones. We've seen it from United playing as a central defender, so at right back, he's certainly got plenty of license to get forward. And as you mentioned there, you just got to put it down to a slippery ball. Goalkeepers normally have, you know, the right type of gloves. They've prepared the gloves correctly, but not that time.
Ashley Young as England seek out an ideal start. Wasn't a bad delivery from Young. Cahill underneath it. Trying to keep Montenegro pinned in. Now Wayne Rooney. Second chance to settle and survey his options. John Terry was waiting. Zudovic with the clearance. Montenegro having to bring everyone back. Tiny packed stadium holds a little over 17,000 in the Montenegrin capital, Podgorica. A world away from Wembley, Robbie, but England have really thrived away from Wembley in this qualifying campaign, haven't they?
Yeah, they've certainly struggled at Wembley a little bit. There's obviously the 0-0 game between these two back earlier in the campaign. It wasn't a very good result, and there's a feeling that England prefer to play outside of Wembley right now because the atmosphere in there can get hostile, particularly if it doesn't go very well. The team aren't playing well. The crowd at times are quick to get on some of these players' backs.
Here's an interesting opportunity straight away for Theo Walcott. All the early pressure comes from England. They've already got their second corner. Walcott, 22 now. And still, it seems, looking to take that next step. Wherever that may take him. Ashley Young, nicely worked corner. A little deflection on the shot. Most of the England fans massed away behind the goal there, protected by Mladen Bozovic.
There's a few set pieces early in the game here. Had a long one, then we had a short corner. Just looking for the movement, and there's a block off there. John Terry looks like he's going to try and block somebody.
Terry was the target. It's been a really impressive start this by England. Montenegro can barely get a touch on the ball at the moment as Young tries to tease his way past Zeverotic. Jovetic couldn't help out. He lost the duel to Phil Jones. Now Scott Parker. Just the 9th England cap tonight for Scott Parker at the age of 30. Interesting to see he and Gareth Barry operate together, Robbie.
Yeah, I mean, they're of a similar ilk, aren't they? They're going to stay behind the ball most times. I mean, there are options on the bench with Frank Lampard. If you wanted more of a dynamic midfielder player that was going to get forward a lot, I think Fabio Capello coming away from home, realising the situation where they just need a point, I think it's sensible. I've got no problem with Gareth Barry playing alongside Scott Parker. I just wish Scott Parker would have been involved in England, Adrian, you know, a long time ago. It seems now people are realising his qualities. I played with him way back for Charlton Athletic, and I realised then that he's a tremendous player.
Now a chance for Walcott. Well, he certainly caught hold of it with ferocity down low, but Bozovic equal to it. It's been a bright opening from the English in the rain here.
Well, no problem with attitude from England, straight on the front foot here, and I guess he's coming across the ball here and he slices across it, and maybe the conditions have something to do with it, but that is a great chance, isn't it? It's just inside the box there. It's on the volley. It sits nicely for Theo Walcott. I think he would love that back again. I think he should have scored.
3 goals for England, Theo Walcott, and all that famous win in Croatia. Parker first on the scene. Touch on from Walcott, but running into Bozovic on the near side. The other Bozovic, that's Drosko Bozovic. Over at the goalkeeper, Mladen Bozovic. First touch of the ball, I believe, for Mirko Vucinic. There's no doubt about it, Robbie. If Montenegro are going to get anything from this game, they need significant contributions from Jovetic and Vucinic, the players who play at the highest level for them, really.
Yeah, and they're top draw players, they really are. I just worry for Montenegro a little bit with the setup of the team. The fact that the coach has rested 3 of the best players, you know, are they going to be, you know, on the back foot? And then, of course, we won't see the likes of this player, Vucinic, on the ball there.
This is Vukovic, who plays for Blackburn, even though he's only played once in the Premier League. Number 7. Working against Phil Jones, his former, or would have been his former teammate. Good work from him. Vucinic now. Similarly, silky footwork from Vucinic. And then Gareth Barry. In the middle of some heavy traffic, managed to get it clear, only half away though. Now the job completed by Barry. The foul is what the crowd wanted from Wayne Rooney.
Well, you already saw there what Mirko Vucinic is like and what he can do, and I think he just gives that unpredictability to their attacking force, and I trust that the England defenders know all about Vucinic and what he can do. Very tricky in the box, skillful player.
Rooney. It's been a matter of national conversation, hasn't it? How would he be affected by all the off-field revelations of the past 24 hours? Fabio Capello having no doubts at all that he was ready to perform. There is Mirko Vucinic. Big money move over the summer from Roma to Juventus. Arsenal were interested in his services.
Just that clever little move there. And that's something that's not seen very often. Just catches Gary Cahill out a little bit there, I think. A little cut back inside his legs and just trying to get around the outside of the player.
Yeah, some 15 million euros he cost. It was, I think, only the price tag in the end, Robbie, that kept Arsenal out of the picture.
Yeah, there's a few clubs sniffing, weren't there, around Mirko Vucinic, and I have seen him plenty of times for Roma, and he's one of those players that can look you know, really, really exciting, very technical player, but other times can look very lazy. Obviously played a lot for Roma out on the left-hand side, and I never thought that was his best position. He's a striker for me, and he prefers to be at the centre where he can create and he can be the focal point. That's why he's playing tonight for Montenegro.
Back in September, the last international break, the last round of the games kind of summed up England's campaign. They went to Bulgaria and won impressively by 3-0, and then laboured mightily for a 1-0 win against Wales at Wembley. But a win it was. This is Walcott, great service, and 1-0 it is to England here in Montenegro. They've got another early breakthrough on the road, and this time it's Ashley Young that's delivered it.
Oh, we talked about the pace that England have on both flanks, but this is just about quality. Rooney again heavily involved here with a simple ball out wide. It's just a great ball in, and people talk about Theo Walcott, his end product isn't the best, and it's not, but this time it was. That's a tremendous cross in, and Ashley Young is where all good wingers should be, on the other side to where the ball is. You should be attacking the box in there, trying to score goals, and in the end, really a simple header for Ashley Young.
And reward for Fabio Capello's men after a really positive start here. And Ashley Young, Robbie, is starting to make a habit of coming up with headers, isn't he? The equaliser for Manchester United back in the last Champions League day. I can't ever remember him scoring a header for Aston Villa.
Wow, I mean, it's very similar as well, wasn't it? Nani from one side, crossed it to the back post. Ashley Young was there and just kind of directed it. Doesn't look like he's a super powerful header of the ball, but from when you're that close in, just got to make sure you hit the target.
4th goal in England colours for Ashley Young. His 18th cap tonight. That was a routine catch for Joe Hart, his first real touch of the ball. Scott Parker. It's ahead of the Cahill and Terry combination at the back. Terry looking long for Darren Bent, who's It is early season struggles this year with Villa. I think he's missing one Ashley Young, perhaps.
Yeah, he is, but Fabio Capello's kept his faith in the player. Obviously, like what he saw a few games ago now with Rooney playing in the hole and Darren Bent, as always, playing on that last defender's shoulder. He's not a link-up man, we know that, Adrian. He's not a technical player. He's not going to score you a goal out of nothing, but he's a poacher.
Okay, Hill and Hart. Bit of a mess there. Joe Hart managing to tidy it up just in time. I'm sure there were some communication issues there. Hart and Cahill haven't exactly played many games together. Cahill stepping in assuredly this time. Now Barry pushing England forward. Rooney, so often the conduit.
Just when you manage to get 4, 5, 6 passes together, it just gives you that little bit of time on the ball. The opposition will just drop off a little bit in recognition that, you know, you've kept the ball. That's what they want, England. They want to be able to control possession of this game, not allow any encouragement for Montenegro to build a head of steam.
It's funny, the Montenegro coach, Branko Brnovic, specifically talked about not conceding early to England, mentioning the fact that England had scored within the opening 15 minutes in all their previous away games. Now he didn't want to make the same mistake.
And you can see that in the way that the team started, because they were very much cautious. They weren't throwing people forward. They allowed England possession of the ball. You know, in that very vein is to keep it very tight. Of course, it didn't happen. The fullback on the far side, Zveratovic, playing at the right back there, just got caught out on that back post with Ashley Young, and maybe a weakness for them on that side.
The Montenegro defence has been exposed by pace of Young, guile of Theo Walcott. Well, the last England manager to stand in the rain in a Euro qualifier was a very different sort of image, Robbie.
You can let me tell the story?
A certain umbrella involved.
I know, yeah.
Wembley, a team just up the road from here, Croatia.
Yeah, bad memories for England fans there. Steve McLaren was the unfortunate coach who, sensibly enough, Adrian, just stood there with an umbrella over his head, stopping himself getting wet. But of course, the performance wasn't good. The qualification was a disaster, and the headlines followed.
There's been a lot more plain sailing so far for England. The slip-ups have come at home, including against Montenegro, as Robbie mentioned last October. England have already done what they couldn't do at home against this team and score. The game ended 0-0. And you get the sense there are more goals to be had. Here's Jovetic, Fiorentina man. Burst on the scene at a very young age. He's still only 21, Jovetic. Here he is on the ball. His partner in crime, Mirko Vucinic, making inroads. He was seeking out Besiraj. Fantos Besiraj playing in his first qualifier of the whole campaign.
Besiraj is on the right-hand side. Here's another look at this goal here, and you just see the defender there. Zveratovic there, just on his backside. It's a poor position to be in. He's actually a midfield player, you know. I know he can play right back, and he has done in qualifying, but the position of his body there and that cross was all wrong.
He doesn't need a brolly. Branko Brnovic, the man looking on. Actually played in a World Cup with the old Yugoslavia back in 1998. Branko Brnovic. Barry and Ashley Cole trying to instigate an England move down the left. Here's Young. Rooney. On to Walcott on the move, up against Bozovic. Walcott on his left foot. Spills out to Phil Jones. A lot of eyebrows raised by the selection of Phil Jones. Essentially, not the position he's been playing in for Manchester United, and ahead of perhaps Micah Richards, who has been playing in that position.
Yeah, and I think Micah Richards has been doing very, very well for Man City, playing at right back. Other options as well in the position, but he's gone with Phil Jones. I think it suits Phil Jones right now, Adrian. I think there's a talk at Man United that maybe he's getting forward too much from centre-half and just leaving them a little bit exposed. I mean, you can't argue with what he's done when he has gone forward. He's created goals. Another chance here maybe for England.
And the loose ball picked up by Bent. Struggling to stay on his feet, but recovers magnificently. Bent pushing on, Rooney waiting. And the defender, Zudovic, did enough in the end. Besiraj offering a release foul for Montenegro. That's the inside to Pekovic. Pekovic again to Bozovic. He's one of the only players who plays here in the Montenegrin league. This is actually his home stadium. The Montenegrin left back. Stefan Savic. Actually got his first goal in the Premier League with Manchester City. Excellent look at that stand behind the goal, defended by Joe Hart. Maybe it's a goal that is going to need defending as Montenegro make their way forward. Hopeful looks at referee Wolfgang Stark. German official not impressed.
You see already so many times that Wayne Rooney in this role, you know, he's encouraged at times to come back and try and nick the ball away from the opposition midfield players and start attacks. I think that's where he's best for me. I like him better in that role than the lone striker. I mean, he can do both, and he's very good at both, but I think he prefers to play when there is somebody ahead of him that he can slide through balls. I think he appreciates the width as well. He can hit those guys too.
Vukovic drilled the cross in low, but he'd picked up the ball in an offside position.
I guess he's the Wayne Rooney of Montenegro. This player here, Simon Vukcevic, the Blackburn player, normally plays in a wide role, but it seems to me he's playing in behind the striker. Besiraj on the right-hand side, and Stefan Jovetic, who I would have thought would have played in the hole, is on the left-hand side. It's a little bit different from Montenegro.
Minutes in. Podgro Giza, glad you could join us here on ESPN. Adrian Healy and Robbie Mustoe. England's final game, this Euro 2012 qualifying campaign. They need just a point. Montenegro coming into this one 3 points clear of Switzerland. Switzerland playing away from home against Wales. So every likelihood that their fate will be determined on Tuesday when it's Switzerland against Montenegro in Basel, in Switzerland. Montenegro, or whatever happens over these two games, know that a point there in Switzerland would be enough for them, and that's seemingly where their focus is.
Yeah, I think you're right there, and I think, you know, with the lineup and the way that they've started this game, the key players are going to be ready for that game on Tuesday. As you said, a point will be enough to get them into a playoff situation.
Yeah, they would finish level on points with Switzerland in that scenario, but would have the better head-to-head record, having beaten the Swiss here. Fed in low by Theo Walcott. Walcott again. Rooney can't track it down. It's Besiraj, who's in the mix for Montenegro, but runs out of room. Scotty Parker, who seems to have immediately adjusted to life with Tottenham Hotspur.
was a little surprised that some of the other teams that might have needed a midfield player didn't come on for Scott Parker. Arsenal, I'm thinking of, I'm sure he could have done a good job for them. But Spurs at the end seemed almost the only choice right at the end of the window. But what a good signing it is to play alongside Luka Modric. That's a nice balance of players in there.
Young. Well-defined Terry. Terry didn't do quite as well as he'd got the ball, though. Heave forward. Jovetic will give Phil Jones something to concern him, and Jones stooped very well to get that back to Joe Hart.
Yeah, I think in a night like this, a wet night, slippery surface, players we've already seen slip over a little bit, that's a good ball. I think England will benefit by having possession and been able to get the ball wide to the two wingers. Any crosses in are going to be very difficult for Montenegro. Just in Montenegro allowing England to build up like this is going to put them vulnerable to balls into the box. And being particularly keen to go and press the ball, really, as a team anyway, Montenegro.
Joe Hart, have to remember that it's only cap number 14 for the undisputed England #1. Just got Carson back in the England squad as his backup tonight. It was that rainy, fateful night at Wembley that Carson was last seen. Almost exactly 4 years ago.
I think England right now are very lucky to have a goalkeeper like Joe Hart, Adrian. You know, a good age. He looks totally composed at this level. And really, should be a goalkeeper for England for a long, long time to come. And I think he's an excellent goalkeeper.
There's no doubt about it. It has been a bit of a problem position, hasn't it, in the last decade or two. Vucinic and Jovetic. Those two Italian Serie A players trying to click. Actually, interestingly, both of them missed the 0-0 draw at Wembley a year ago, which made that result all the more remarkable for Montenegro. Fabio Capello, who has reiterated that he will be stepping down post Euro 2012.
He's not one of those coaches, is he, that just sits on the bench. You know, we all know about the language, it's his second language and everything else, but I quite like the way he's on the touchline, Adrian. He's shouting at players, he's talking, he's maybe just pushing them and helping them a little bit tactically when he can. He's not one of the guys, and I hate to see the guys that just sit on the bench and kind of let the players get on with it. I think it's good to see your manager there on the sideline, you know, showing some anger if needs be at times, and also organising if it needs to as well.
They may not understand him, but he's shouting at them. Getting the desired effects early on here as England look for a second. Oh, headed in towards the run of Gary Cahill, who keeps it alive. Now Young, and a chance to reset everything from the corner kick. Already the 5th of the night for the visitors. Young's delivery coming back off the head of Rooney. Pekovic allowed to well clear of his own penalty area, unchallenged. But all too quickly for Montenegro, their attack stalls in English territory. Only that one time have they got deep into the English penalty area with the skill and trickery of Vucinic.
Just at some point, surely Montenegro are going to have a little bit of a go. There's nothing to lose. They know that they can go in the last game on Tuesday at Switzerland and get the point and get into the playoffs. Just have a go at this game. Maybe it's still early, but you're nearly into half an hour and they haven't really made any kind of concerted effort to try and win the ball back and forced England on the back foot, I guess, in some ways.
Conservative team selection by Branko Brnovic. His first game in charge. Milan Jovanovic, Marco Bassa, Nikola Drincic, two defenders and a midfielder who would normally be automatic starters for this Montenegro side, left out. Two of the three of them were a booking away from a suspension, and that was his main fear, that they would pick up a booking in this game and miss the all-important game against Switzerland. So it's understandable in a way.
Yeah, I get that with those three players, and also maybe the way that they've approached this game, Adrian. There are other players that are on a yellow card situation as well, where they can, if they get booked, they get suspended. So maybe that explains why they haven't been so keen to close down and to make many tackles.
Bozovic, left-footed delivery. Joe Hart is allowing his defenders to take command there. Ashley Cole facing his own goal, only had one place to go.
Yeah, you know what? I think on a good night, a good service, I think he chests this ball back, but I think he does the right thing here. There's a player behind him. He's not sure. That's a sensible play from Ashley Cole.
He's the most capped player out there for either team, winning cap number 92 tonight for England, Ashley Cole. Most capped English fullback of all time. Overtaking Kenny Sansom a while back. Breaks here for Stefan Jovetic. That was telegraphed. Rooney read the signals. Decent cross though. That second ball caused a lot more consternation for England. Besiraj was in the mix, so too the big central defender Zudovic.
Zudovic it was, who just gets to this ball first, I think. It looks like it comes off of Phil Jones there. It's a good position, though, from Phil Jones there. He's right on the shoulder of his centre-half partner there, Gary Cahill, and that's what you want to be when the ball comes in as a full-back. So it's good covering play, but also a good ball in for Montenegro, wasn't it?
Zudovic, one of this Montenegrin squad who plies their trade in Russia. Spartak Nalchik in his case. And Jovetic on the dummy works. Bozovic breaking through, and the square ball too. And some determined defending from Gareth Barry kept the danger to a minimum.
Yeah, and that's why you've got him in the team right now, and a lot of those challenges go unnoticed by certain England fans, but it's good work from Gareth Barry, just sniffing out the danger there, just reading the situation. I think it was Stefan Jovetic who was coming in to try and fire that ball first time.
Well, a little dummy, didn't it, to work very nicely to release the fullback.
I think it's important for England just to not coast through this game. There's no reason why they can't keep a reasonable tempo. They're certainly technically better than Montenegro. They can't afford to get sloppy. Ashley Young's been sloppy a couple of times. Wayne Rooney again there has given the ball away, and that's just not really what you should be doing. And Capello want him to sharpen up.
Nicely weighted pass from Rooney, has Young on his way, and Darren Bent with the tap in. Rooney, Young, bench, and the triangle that undid Montenegro completely. And England double their advantage.
There's going on about something, Fabric, about it. There's a mistake here. There's the giveaway from Vucinic, I think it was. And of course, Wayne Rooney then's got all the time in the world. And this is what Darren Bent does. Inside the 6-yard box. Good little bit of concentration at the end there so it doesn't bobble over his foot. Ashley Young again doing the right thing, the right amount of power on the ball. It's not easy, it looks easy, but it's not. The contact is there, concentration in, concentration finish there, 2-0 England.
Well, he has been one of the most consistent English goal scorers of recent seasons in the Premier League. Hasn't had the best of starts to this campaign. In fact, he's matched his Premier League tally with international goals now with that tap-in. It's the 4th he's scored for England. Just his 11th cap.
And that's what he's paid to do, at club level and certainly at national team level. He's not a player like this player here, Vucinic. Absolutely total different end of the scale.
Phil Jones had his positioning worked out. Joe Hart having to come up with some footwork. But already England in a very comfortable position here. Down in the Mediterranean, the Adriatic. It's very far from holiday-type weather. They've coped with the conditions admirably. That man, Branko Brnovic, is looking on rather helplessly at the moment.
Yeah, he doesn't look particularly comfortable there, does he?
But he does have Jovetic to provide some hope. Here's the shot. It's from the right back, Zveratic.
I guess it's pretty simple, isn't it? The turnover in midfield from Mirko Vucinic gives it right back to Wayne Rooney. Of course, then defending players are stretched. They're out of the picture. The right back, Zveratic, is out in a wider position. He wasn't covering his defender. And of course, lots of space for England.
Ashley Young already, Robbie, two relatively straightforward contributions, but very important ones nonetheless.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's the player when with that move to Manchester United seems to have really boosted his chances with England. I think we all knew he was a tremendous player. Sometimes at the less glamorous clubs like Aston Villa, it isn't always noticed or appreciated. But of course, you move to Manchester United, and all of a sudden, it's like Phil Jones, isn't it? He hasn't changed in his really in this amount of time, but all of a sudden, in a good side with good performances, he looks all of a sudden like an international player.
You have to go back to June, don't you, for Ashley Young being left out of that Wembley game in the first half against Switzerland, and the swift about turn by Fabio Capello at half-time in that game. It was not an automatic choice, even as recently as just 4 months ago.
It brings versatility as well, doesn't he? Because he can play in the hole and behind Wayne Rooney if Bent is out or out of favour for any particular reason. Rooney can play that higher role, and Ashley Young can play just behind. Of course, Stuart Downing is another player that could come in on that left-hand side. So all of a sudden, England, where so often there's no player to play on the left-hand side, now we've got two, or maybe three with Adam Johnson as well.
Well, these were the top two teams in the group defensively coming into this encounter. Both nations had conceded just 3 goals in their campaign. That's very quickly extended in Montenegro's case. Here's Vucinic. The problem for the Montenegrins all along has been goal scoring. They've managed just 5 in 6 games in this group. Vucinic and Jovetic have them all. 2 for Vucinic. 3 for his Fiorentina teammate.
Well, this is a handball that's been given from the referee there, and flag on the far side didn't go up. A bit surprising, maybe come off his shoulder there, Vucinic.
Joe Hart's clearance has his Manchester City teammate underneath it, Stefan Savic. Young. He does thrive in those tight quarters. Ashley Young, he had Cachelan all over him there. Now Rooney, instantly looking for Young and putting it right on a plate for him. Ashley Young, the beating of the fullback. Oh, terrific, swift attacking prowess there between Rooney and Young.
Yeah, same thing, isn't it? And I guess when you play with each other at club level, you know the other one's going to be most of the time there. Wayne Rooney again, he's a tremendous passer of the ball as well, you know, isn't he, Wayne Rooney? Ashley Young will take those balls all day long. Just got a little bit unfortunate there with a bobble, I think, just as he's about to strike that cross in. Darren Bent and Theo Walcott making a run in from the right-hand side as well. It's all very comfortable right now for England, isn't it? Very easy.
It's like a stroll in the park for Fabio Capello's men, be it a rather soggy park. Rooney, lots of space all the time he needed as well to turn and find Theo Walcott. Walcott couldn't stay on his feet though. The challenge from Bozovic.
Theo Walcott, Adrian, he's made a great ball, hasn't he, for the first goal. Well done. Well, come on then, you've got to be consistent and get involved and make the right decisions, and don't just rest on your laurels that I've done something very good, you know, and get sloppy. That's not what England need to see.
Well, it's interesting, you and I had Stuart Robson, the ex-Arsenal man, on our talk show, ESPN Soccer Net Press Pass. He's of the opinion that Theo Walcott hasn't progressed enough in his time with Arsenal.
I think it's a reasonable shout. I think, I mean, I think certain players have certain attributes, Adrian, and I don't know how much you can coach kind of football intelligence, if you like. You know, intelligence that somebody like a David Silva, you know, has that football intelligence, knows when to play give and goes, knows when to pass it or to dribble, when to cross, when to play safe. Theo Walcott hasn't quite got that intelligence, but he's got, you know, other attributes. He's very, very quick. I wonder at some point whether Arsene Wenger does try him down the middle. You know, a player that doesn't have to complicate things too much, Adrian, that stays on the last defender's shoulder, a little bit like Darren Bent, and just runs in behind all the time. Of course, Arsenal have got plenty of players that can slide balls through for him if he did play that role in behind. I'd love to see that playing there at some point.
It's one of those rampaging runs that Phil Jones seems to specialise in. Seen that already many times early on in his Manchester United career. It often ends in an incident just like this, where he gets brought down.
Yeah, and you know, he can play. He's not just ambles forward and looks like a defender that goes forward. He knows what he's doing. I mean, he originally was a midfield player, and he can play in the middle of the park as a defensive guy. But you know, he's got that versatility.
Rooney, well, there's another one for the Walcott collection. Probably Musto wincing next to me as that one went into the England fans behind the goal.
Yeah, I just think it's a difficult night, isn't it? You know, just take a touch. You've got plenty of time and space out there. I mean, they're getting the balls, you know, Rooney or the midfield players of England out to the wide guys so easily. Just take your time and serve a good ball, and as he did for the first goal.
Now Vukcevic and Jovetic, but no joy, no change offered by Cahill and company. There was a thought when he first arrived at Arsenal as a 16-year-old that he was going to be the next Thierry Henry. Or he was going to be playing more centrally.
Yeah, well, I mean, Henry, talk about a player that progressed, wasn't it? I mean, and he started as a wide player, didn't he, Thierry Henry, and then ended up coming through the middle. And I mean, he had everything, Henry. I mean, he had everything that Walcott's got, plus the you know, more of a technical ability, the awareness, the vision, the intelligence that I've just been talking about. He had it all, Henry, one of the best players, I think, ever in the Premier League.
Barry struggling to make up the ground on his opposite number, Jovetic. Wants to put a bit of an elbow in.
I think that's a little better for Montenegro. I think Jovetic has got to get inside. He's been playing on the left-hand side really for the majority of this first half. I like to see him playing where Rooney is. Get involved, get in the pockets of space, in between the lines of England. Vukcevic is right now.
Vukcevic. Interestingly, being harassed by Theo Walcott there. Here's Rooney. Bozovic out to the edge of his area. Mladen Bozovic, who plays his club football in Hungary with Videoton.
Looks like Montenegro have made a little tactical change, or a personnel change, I should say. Castellan, the midfield player, started in the middle of the park, has moved to right back. Zvaratic, the player that we got caught out, wasn't it, for the first goal, has moved back into the middle of the midfield. So just a simple change for those two players.
Jovetic, Zvaratic forward. Besiraj up against Ashley Cole. Montenegro craving some sort of lifeline in this game, and, well, a long-range shot, not the worst option. Castellan, though, skewing his effort well wide.
This is the player I talked about. He's moved into a right-back position now. Might get a little bit more of the ball, just driving across there. No problem that time for Joe Hart.
He'll be hoping his nation makes it to Poland. It's where he plays professionally with LKS Lodz. Mladen Castellan. Besiraj turning the corner on Ashley Cole. Cahill was ready and waiting.
Does that well as well, you know, Ashley Young. He's not a player that's a lazy wide player, that there are plenty of those around European football and world football. He doesn't mind doing his work, and I think that's why he was a target of Manchester United. I think that's why Sir Alex Ferguson's going to love him as a player, because he's a hard-working, good player. There's plenty of good players out there, Adrian, but not that many that work hard as well. I think that's what United are all about.
Final minute of the first half in Podgorica. Not one of the more established footballing capitals in Europe. Montenegro trying to make a name for themselves, which they've already succeeded in doing in this group. Consider they were rank outsiders according to the bookmakers before a ball was kicked. Even Wales were favoured to finish above them. Here they are, trying to make some noise just before the break. Besiraj found an open man in the area. The shot on the turn has given Montenegro some hope. Well, talk about timely. Zvaratic, the right back. He took like a centre forward, Robbie.
Well, that's the player that we said had switched into midfield, Adrian, and Castellan had gone back at right back, and Zvaratic back in the middle of the park here. Ashley Cole's a little bit too inside there, plenty of time for the ball to come across, and John Terry, Adrian, is kind of 5 yards back against his man there. I guess it could be somebody else's man, but even so, why John Terry is so far back, I'm not sure. There's a big deflection as well on the replay that maybe just catches out Joe Hart. There it is off Gary Cahill into the corner, but maybe got a game on now, right before half-time.
England perhaps just guilty of going to sleep for a moment defensively. And Zvaratic has woken up the crowd as a result. And in fact, was the final kick of the first half, and that will change the tone just a little bit in the English dressing room, with Fabio Capello, I'm sure, not best pleased.
No, I think he'll make sure that the England team in the second half are just sharper. Don't get casual, don't get relaxed. They're still leading though.
Montenegro 1, England 2 after 45 minutes. We'll bring you some first half highlights and highlights from other games next.
Brazil's World Soccer Tour continues as they bring their Jogo Bonito to Costa Rica. Watch as the 5-time world champions take on the Ticos in San Jose at the Estadio Nacional. Don't miss Costa Rica, Brazil today, live on ESPN.
The ATP World Tour Masters 1000 heads to China for the Shanghai Rolex Masters. It's an all-star event in one of the great stops on the tour. Plus, with 4 spots open for the Barclays World Tour Finals, it's added pressure for the great men of the ATP. The stars are set to shine in China. The ATP Shanghai Rolex Masters. Coverage begins live Monday on ESPN. It's the NFL on ESPN. This week, it's a showcase of elite NFC clubs. Aaron Rodgers and the champion Packers invade Atlanta to battle the Falcons. Then on Monday Night Football, it's an NFC North showdown when the Bears take on the undefeated Lions. Packers, Falcons, live Monday. Bears, Lions on Monday Night Football.
Real Street, 16 of the top street skateboarders, 16 videos, 1 X Games gold and 50 grand. To see who captured gold and 50 grand at X Games 17, visit xgames.com/realstreet.
Welcome back to Podgorica here, the city stadium in the tiny country of Montenegro, who are certainly punching above their weight when it comes to this Euro qualifying group. But England came here needing just a point to seal their passage through to the Euro 2012 finals next summer in Poland and Ukraine. And all started very much according to plan for them. So they got off to a very fast start. They could have been ahead as early as the second minute, Robbie, after this run from Phil Jones.
Well, he's just trying to feed it into the danger zone there, straight at the goalkeeper that really should just catch that ball. Maybe the benefit of the doubt, and just before 2 minutes into the game, this just goes straight through his hands, and that could have gone anywhere.
But patience wasn't exactly required, was it? Didn't take England long to get their noses in front. Walcott's cross providing Ashley Young with a header he couldn't really miss.
It's a good ball in, isn't it, for Theo Walcott? The defender there just slips over, and of course it leaves an open goal for Ashley Young, who just nods it into the corner.
Then after a period of consolidation, a giveaway in midfield was Montenegro's undoing. England ruthlessly efficient, weren't they?
Yeah, they really were. I mean, it's not easy at this surface. It's a little bit bobbly. We know it's wet. The ball's coming across there, jumping off the surface. But Darren Bent does what he does. Best scores from 3 yards.
But then, right at the death of the first half, really out of nothing, Montenegro getting a goal back. It was Zavratic who buried it.
Well, he did. The midfield player that kind of drifted into the box, and nobody really was picking him up. John Terry was a little bit away from him. The shot maybe gets a ricochet to go into the corner, but just a little different slant and different things in the dressing rooms at half-time, I'm sure.
5-4 in terms of shots on goal. England had 5 of the 6 corners in that first half too, but late effort from Zvaratic. It means there's still work to be done here for England. All right, we'll step away and then we'll bring you some other highlights from around the Euro qualification scene. Seal qualification for Euro 2012. Plenty of other groups are very much hanging in the balance as we look around at these last 2 so important days of qualification. What about Ireland's group? Probably that's the one that includes Russia and Slovakia, and Armenia are also in the mix. It's Russia who have taken the lead in their all-important clash with Slovakia away from home. That was Zagoev who scored 20 minutes from time.
Yeah, it's a very tight group. This is a midfield man, CSKA Moscow player, isn't it? Gets that dipping ball there with a deflection into the back of the net. Still time to go on this one, but this group is very tight. They all seem to be winning at the top there.
Yeah, that game not over yet, but Russia leading in Slovakia, which wouldn't be great news for Ireland. It's all going to go down to the final game in that particular group, but not in these groups. Germany, Italy, Holland and Spain can almost sit back and put their feet up.
Yeah, and you look at those names, they're some of the biggest. You know, Germany right at the top there, they are going to be a major force in my opinion. Netherlands, we know about those, of course, with Spain as well. So they're the big names. I think England are going to be very close, and we're going to know a lot, aren't we? I think after Tuesday, we're going to know most of the teams that have qualified.
And we'll get a good chance to have a up-close look at the Netherlands as they round up their qualification campaign against Sweden, who are in the hunt for one of the best runners-up spots. They may yet avoid the playoff route to Poland and the Ukraine. That game coming up on Tuesday. The second half here from Podgorica coming up in just a few minutes, with England leading Montenegro by 2-1.
Messi, that's 4. Powerful finish from Lionel Messi, who grabs his second of the night. The magnificence of Messi in Minsk.
Ozil, Benzema, magnificent! A special goal by a special player, Cristiano Ronaldo. 1-0.
1-1 pitch. Line to left. Crawford playing shallow. Dives. Cannot make the catch. Raimo comes to the plate. He scores! And the Baltimore Orioles stun the Boston Red Sox. An incredibly shocking development might have delivered the knockout blow to the Boston Red Sox as they lose their 20th game in the month of September.
32 of Europe's finest teams on club football's biggest stage.
Absolutely sensational, astonishing.
Culminating with the final match in Munich.
Would you believe it?
No one gives you more.
What a strike!
Game, set, and match.
The UEFA Champions League on ESPN, ESPN2 and ESPN3.com.
Soldado! His 4th goal of the evening. What a night it's turning out to be.
Rossi, giri della vuelta, gira de nuevo. Rossi le pega. ¡Gol! Atento está el pistolero Cristiano Ronaldo.
¡Gol! Ronaldo tucks it home. Cristiano Ronaldo is the greatest goal scorer ever.
Le va a pegar Messi. Ahí va.
Oh, he's done well. Xavi was inevitable. Real Madrid left reeling by the swagger of Barcelona. Messi for the hat-trick. Gets it.
Messi! Oh dear, what a beautiful finish.
Barcelona are La Liga champions, regarded by many as the best team in the world.
ESPN heads to Beijing for the China Open. The scene is set for great tennis as the road to Shanghai rolls on. Semifinals live today on ESPN and ESPN3.
Can you take it to the house on the frozen tundra? Kick it past the keeper for the win. Smack a dinger deep in the yard. ESPNarcade.com has hundreds of games, all for free. Get a piece of the action now at ESPNarcade.com.
This fire on ESPN. England leading by 2-1. Adrian Healy with Robbie Mustoe alongside. It looked to be plain sailing, really, didn't it, for England, Robbie? 2 up inside half an hour. It could have been more, perhaps. But they're perhaps guilty of just taking their eye off the ball a little in the tail end of that first half.
Well, I remember as well, you know, in the middle of the first half, I think I said it probably about 20 seconds before they scored a goal, England, but I just saw signs of them just being a little sloppy, a little bit casual. Of course, they get the turnover. Rooney slots it in, and you know, for the attacking players, and they score a goal, and everything's okay again. But again, towards the end of that first half, just the foot off the gas a little bit. They know what they've got to get here. They've got to get a point, England, to qualify. That goal just on the stroke of half-time is just going to give Montenegro a bit of a boost there, and confidence and belief that they can maybe put England under more pressure, particularly of the way that John Terry just backed off there. It seemed very strange. He was kind of behind all the other defending players there, allowing the midfield man, Montenegro, plenty of time to chest the ball down and strike it inside the box.
Let me ask you for your verdict, Robbie, on the one England debutant tonight, the man winning his first cap, the 19-year-old Phil Jones. Does he look at home at this level of football?
I think so, yeah. I think he does. We know that he can play as a central defender or a right back or a midfield player, so that's a little bit of a concern that he's playing right back here, where he plays as a centre back for Manchester United at the moment. But in general, I've got no concerns about Phil Jones. I think a lot of people who've seen him play for Man United know that he's a real talent. He seems a big, strong boy. He seems confident. He talks to his teammates. He's not that type of player that's a quiet kid. I think he's going to be an England regular player for a long, long time. Maybe he could go on to be the next John Terry, I guess. He's that kind of personality and player as well. Maybe a younger version of John Terry, we'll see. But I think he's done fine in the first 45 minutes.
Well, his parents are here. We know that much. An interesting story behind that as well. They had to basically take a chance because they didn't know that Phil Jones was going to be making his England debut tonight. And they couldn't get here directly, so they travelled to Dubrovnik, which is 4 hours away, the nearest airport they could get to, and then drove. And I guess they were rewarded for that perseverance when Jones did get the nod, but they didn't know it.
No, they wouldn't know it. And Fabio Capello doesn't name his team. Nobody knows what the team's going to be until that team sheet goes in. So it's not as though Phil Jones, you know, had an indication or knew he was playing before he did. So that's, I guess, was the last-minute panic of his family to get there. But of course, it's well worth the trip now seeing their son play.
So England within touching distance of the finals next summer. Of course, they missed out so miserably 4 years ago. Had to sit back and watch what was such a splendid tournament unfold without them, as it turned out, in Austria and Switzerland. They're so nearly there to take their place amongst all those big names we showed you, the Germanys, the Italys, the Netherlands, and of course Spain, the defending champions, not to mention the co-hosts, Poland and Ukraine. A lot more names will be added to that list over the course of tonight and Tuesday. Montenegro, in all likelihood, if they are going to get there, are going to have to get there via the route of the playoffs, although we shouldn't be counting any chickens just yet. Here comes Milan Jovanovic now, and he's one of the players, one of the automatic starters left out by Branko Brnovic for the start of the game, but I guess figures it's worth the risk to bring him on now. It's 45 minutes to negotiate, and some hope having been offered by that goal at the end of the first half by Zveratic. Away we go then. Montenegro in the red with the yellow trim, now going from left to right. A nation who only played their first ever game as they've been independent country a little over 4.5 years ago, March of 2007. They won it against Hungary, their first competitive game. They had to wait a whole other year for. It came in September of 2008, so they've only been playing competitive football a little over 3 years. It'd be a remarkable, remarkable story were they to make it to Poland and Ukraine. A country of about 600,000.
Well, it just looks like Stefan Savic here, number 21, the central defender of Man City, has moved to right back. Mladen Kazljan is a player that's got substituted at half-time. He started in midfield and moved back to right back. He's out of the game now, and Milan Jovanovic, either a central defender, he's actually a left back by trade, but I think he's playing in the middle of the defence.
Can Montenegro work up a head of steam here and cause some uneasy moments for England? It's a painful moment for Scott Parker. Knock on the back of the head.
This is a good challenge here. Pegovic, the midfield player for Montenegro here, just seeing the ball, he's running at it, he gets a jump on it. Scott Parker's not a big guy, he's one of the shorter players you'll see as a central midfield guy. He started out, you know, he was very much a technical footballer, attack-minded player, and of course his game developed, his physique developed into more of a stocky player, and he kind of reinvented himself as a holding player, as a midfield general, if you like. But I think he's a really good one.
He made his debut for England all the way back in November of 2003, and then had to wait 5 years for his next cap.
He moved to Chelsea, if you remember, at that time when they were buying all the best players, and he just didn't play. Scott Parker sat on the bench and moved there from Charlton. Then, of course, he went to Newcastle United, and now he's at a great club for him now at Spurs.
Ashley Young standing over the free kick. Already been involved in both England's goals tonight. That should be no problem for Bozovic, and that's exactly as it proves to be. Interesting news, Robbie, from the other game in this group tonight, Wales against Switzerland, and Wales are leading against Switzerland by a goal to nil, and that will be excellent news for Montenegro in their hopes of snagging at least a playoff place. Won't actually change the dynamic of the group unless Montenegro come back and get an equaliser, and they could seal playoff place and render that final game against Switzerland null and void, really. And that's what they're after here. The shot on, and Joe Hart having to go down to deny Besiraj. So Montenegro picking up at the start of the second half where they left off at the end of the first.
Yeah, and I just wonder if that goal at Wales, if it stays like that for a little while, that the manager, the coach here, Montenegro, might just encourage his team to go forward and let's try and do it now. They get a point and draw this game against England, and as you said, they will qualify, and that last game, the nervous last game in Switzerland, won't matter.
Wales seem to be finishing on a bit of a high note in this qualification group. Let's face it, they were mighty unlucky not to get a point on a visit to Wembley. They beat Montenegro at home. Here's Rooney and Walcott in tandem. Well-timed challenge, though, from Jovanovic, the half-time substitute. Phil Jones has left Bozovic on the ground. Vucinic, good pass, right into the stride of Besiraj, who cuts it back. England living a little dangerously at the moment. Vucinic. He thrives in a crowd, doesn't he, Mirko Vucinic? Vukcevic. Seemed to be a routine enough pass for him, but he couldn't pull it off. Oh, what a contrast this is to the start of the first half. Vukcevic into stride. Oh, Jovetic went down, and the referee is not impressed. Wow. England with real cause for concern there. Phil Jones protesting his innocence. Let's have another look.
Well, my first look was I thought it was a penalty kick. Kind of misses the ball, doesn't he? The ball's played through. Phil Jones, for some reason, is behind his player. He reaches in. I thought there was a trip. Stefan Jovetic that goes through there. Was the ball going out of play? Did that influence the referee? It just seemed that initially there wasn't any contact, and then I thought there was right at the end. I'd love to get another replay of it. But I don't know why he was the wrong side in the first place. It seemed to me that there was plenty of time for Phil Jones to find a defensive spot. Maybe he's a little bit closer to central defenders, just discouraging that ball in there.
Well, you've certainly seen them given for that, haven't you? England can count themselves mighty fortunate, perhaps.
I think this is when England really now should take control of the game. I talked about this in the first half, and they just get a little bit casual. Encourages Montenegro. They get a few chances, they get a few crosses into the box, they just ruffle the feathers a little bit of England, the fans get up for the game. All of a sudden for England it becomes a difficult game when really it shouldn't be. With the quality they've got out there, it just got a little sloppy for me.
really strolling forward with the greatest of ease through much of that first half. Anything but at the moment. Jones finally able to pick out Darren Bent. Vucinic. It's his ability to spin and turn away from defenders who appear to have him cornered or trapped. Besiraj seeing a lot of the ball at the moment. Ashley Cole trying to take it away from him, didn't do so. Besiraj, well, there'll be a sigh of relief there from Ashley Cole, who was looking in the direction of the referee, but Besiraj had a clear sight of goal.
Well, he shouldn't have got a clear sight of goal. Bad defending from Ashley Cole. He kind of got himself favoured to win this ball. Well, what happens after that? Here, he should just put his foot through the ball. He feels he gets pulled back there. I'm not sure that he does. And of course, then Gary Cahill comes across and puts him off the shot. But again, a little bit poor from England at the back. It's a few times now they've tried to play balls out of there. Just before the goal, they conceded there. Scott Parker, or nearly the penalty, sorry, it wasn't a goal. Played the ball out of play when he didn't really need to do that. Just trying to be a little bit cute back there. Sometimes you've got to put your foot through the ball and get it out of that danger zone.
Time in this qualifying campaign that England have faced a similar scenario away from home was their first away game in Switzerland. Remember, they went 2-0 up in that game. Switzerland got it back to 2-1 and really knocking on the door with some ferocity. And then England very quietly snuck a counter-attack in, and Darren Bent wrapped it all up. Now England would love a similar story to unfold here. Bent is offside. Terry waiting underneath. The little touch on was from Young. Rooney to Barry. Is England are craving some sustained possession here. 10 minutes into the second half.
Seems to be a little bit more enthusiasm, isn't there, in the work of the Montenegro players. They're working very hard now. They've just got a spring in their step. They feel they've rattled England, that they've got the potential to cause them more problems at the back. I think we've seen the two wide players give Phil Jones and Ashley Cole a little bit of a harder time in this second half already.
Safely shepherded it back by Jovanovic, who you might remember actually hit the bar at Wembley right in the final minute or so of that game a year ago, to give Montenegro a famous victory. Savage guiding it forward. This is Pekovic making progress. Now Bozovic cuts inside, leaves Walcott behind him. But Young is there to get the challenge in on the edge of the penalty area, but then ball ran unkindly for him. Cole back to intervene.
It's getting more uncomfortable for England as time ticks on in this second half. Managed nothing, have they, in terms of possession, in terms of getting that ball into the final third and attacking Montenegro.
Last sequence symptomatic of things just being a little awry at the moment for England. the first half, I'm sure Young and Rooney would have sprung that counter-attack fairly easily. Here's Rooney now, though. His touch deserting him. Rooney's so eager to make a mark on the stage of a big tournament. As England have conceded a free kick. John Terry left his foot in.
There's an offside in there as well. Maybe before that happened, Adrian, I think Darren Bent must have been coming back from an offside position. The referee's arm is up, indicating somebody was offside.
Fabio Capello going to go out on a high note next summer. You might remember it was a European Championships where Wayne Rooney first sprung to prominence as a precocious 18-year-old, the 2004 Euros. He seemingly couldn't be stopped. He hasn't made his mark on a major tournament since. Here's Jovanovic. Barry at full stretch, Parker helping out. Now Walcott. He had got away from the first defender, who's Jovanovic, who's going to be booked too. Milan Jovanovic.
He'll have a little ball out in behind for Theo Walcott. Jovanovic here arrested from the game. Yellow card scenario, now has got a yellow card.
Yeah, it's the worst possible scenario, isn't it, for manager Branko Brnovic? Just what he was afraid of, as Ashley Young is the man to make way. Stuart Downing was a little unlucky to be left out in the first place. Robbie will get his chance now.
I'm not sure whether there's anything wrong with Ashley Young. Obviously scored the first goal, created, assisted a goal as well for England. Ashley Young's had a very good game. I'm sure he's feeling something. He's right on the near side of the coach over there. Maybe he's just whispering something, but Downing is on now.
Involved immediately. The corner picked off by Vucinic, who tries to release Montenegro. He's done just that as well. The crossfield ball. Vukcevic. He had done the hard work to get inside past Ashley Cole. Probably was entitled to give it a go.
Yeah, just another one of the attacking players from Montenegro that's just come alive in this second half. Besiraj has done it on the right-hand side. Jovetic involved earlier on, where he may have got a penalty kick from England. Vukcevic as well, operating in that whole position, is a lot more involved.
That cheer you heard go up was for a second Welsh goal. Wales leading Switzerland by 2-0. Remember, Switzerland the only team that can keep Montenegro out of the playoffs. Switzerland are down to 10 men as well, with Rito Ziegler having been sent off.
They've got to go for it, Adrian. They've got to go for it. One goal here gets them through, as long as they don't concede another one, get a point here, and they're in the finals. Or sorry, in the playoffs, aren't they? They're guaranteed second place.
Yeah. Vucinic. I think it's fair to say not many teams will relish the prospect of coming here in the playoffs if Montenegro make it.
It seems to me they've got a fairly good balance about the team. Very strong at the back.
Vucevic is through. Well, just for a moment it looked like he was going to haul it in, but the bounce took it away from him. into the arms of Hart.
There's a run right through the middle there, and no reaction from John Terry, as if he thinks that either Gary Cahill's got this ball or it's going to go through, which it did, just about, to Joe Hart. A warning sign for England at the back.
Giving some final instructions to Dejan Damjanovic, who's about to come on, wearing number 14. He interestingly plays his club football in Korea with FC Seoul. FC Seoul, rather. Besiraj had looked impressive at times, but he makes way.
Yeah, a little surprised at that. I thought he looked very good in the second half, and had certainly possibly had the beating of Ashley Cole. A couple of good runs past him, but Damjanovic is another forward, striker, attacking player. I think the intent is pretty obvious now from Montenegro.
Fabio Capello answering with his own substitution, and well, interestingly, it's Darren Bench who's coming off for Frank Lampard.
There's obviously a tactical change here from England. Frank Lampard will go in the midfield, stiffen it up a little bit. I guess he'll be the attacking one out of the three, though. Scott Parker and Gareth Barry will continue to hold, but Lampard gives you a little bit more defensive cover.
Phil Jones, oh, it flicked off a defensive head. It may have been Jovanovic. Proved to be a vital touch because it took it beyond the range of Wayne Rooney.
Oh, another good ball in from the right-hand side there, and Rooney was definitely sniffing in between defenders, and it was Jovanovic who just gets that flick. Another corner.
Downing with it. Driven right onto the head of Cahill. Coming up on Tuesday, join us for the final day of Euro 2012 qualifying in terms of the group stages. Sweden against the Netherlands will be one of the offerings we have for you from Group E, where the Netherlands are already through and Sweden hope to join them. And then, of course, those two nail-biting dates in November. The playoffs will happen. There's 8 runners-up in the groups compete for just 4 remaining spots in Poland and Ukraine. Bozovic for Montenegro. Now edged ahead of England in terms of overall goal attempts, and how unlikely that seemed. You think back to the first 30 minutes, Robbie, when England were just strolling through at will.
Yeah, it was just a cruise, wasn't it? Absolute cruise for England in that first half, and just that goal on the stroke at half-time maybe just changed the dynamic in this match. Half-time, managers said different things. Brunovic, I think the coach of Montenegro, has just told him, listen, we got a real chance here. Certainly more on the front foot. They're certainly trying to take the game to England a lot more than they attempted in the first half.
Jovetic releasing Bozovic. Joe Hart watching that one all the way, clear the crossbar.
He's done okay, this player, Bozovic. Vladimir Bozovic playing as a left back up against Theo Walcott. Just trying to cross that ball in, just miss-hits it. We've seen a few miss-hit crosses. Got to look at the conditions of the pitch and give the players a little bit of slack on that.
England going for the clean sweep here. Be winning all of their away games in the group. 2 draws, both coming at home at Wembley against Montenegro last October, and then against Switzerland just this past June. That 2-2 game where they had to come from 2-0 down just to get a draw. Parker, victimised there by his opposite number, Jovanovic.
Certainly got involved, hasn't he, Milan Jovanovic? Substitution, one of the better players. He's picked up the yellow card already.
Midway point of the second half. This is Pekovic for Montenegro. We try and find a second wind here. England appear to have ridden out that brief storm that Montenegro were kicking up at the start of the second half. Goal helped out there by Downing. The home team have it back. Some real industry there from Zveratic, Vucinic. Too hot to handle. Slack clearance though, right to Pekovic. Montenegro buzzing around the edge of the English penalty area. Damjanovic, though, running aground, and Theo Walcott able to clear his lines. Now Lampard. On to Rooney. Lampard let it go. Parker was arriving. Couldn't take it in stride, though, and back come Montenegro. Some space to exploit through the English midfield this time. Jovetic, he was the danger man, and Phil Jones was well aware of that danger. Stuck to him like a stamp. Here's Lampard.
Just gives him an extra man in midfield, doesn't it? Frank Lampard, a couple of times now, he's received the ball, he's had nobody around him. Try and use that as an advantage now, England, just to keep possession of the ball. That's all that really they're looking to do right now. Bent, the striker, is off. Rooney is the highest player. He won't be coming deep anymore. It's about Lampard to try and get forward at times when it's right to support Wayne Rooney, but most of the time it's just about managing this game. Again, Lampard's done it, Parker's done it, Gareth Barry's done it. They've given the ball away in midfield a lot.
Vucinic trying to lead by example. There though for his little layoff. Back it goes from Lampard, who also had a memorable Euro 2004. Downing. Rooney was lurking, but the back pass had enough weight on it. The clearance only as far as Parker though. Barry. And it's all a little disjointed, isn't it? For England, what was flowing in the first half has seemingly dried up in the second.
Yeah, and the difference really is, Adrian, there's a little bit more pressure on them when they get the ball. It's not quite as easy. They haven't got 5-10 yards around them when they receive it, and about 3 or 4 different options. And, you know, you want your midfield players to be able to handle that pressure and be reliable in possession. That's what England need right now. But you've got to give credit to Montenegro because they're putting more pressure on and they're forcing the errors.
Walcott offered no joy by Bozovic. It's the goal scorer, Zveratic. Montenegro on to Jovetic. Rooney without a strike partner, and he lashed out there. A clear kick on Zudovic. Frustrations bubbling to the surface, and Wayne Rooney who's acting as the lone frontman now, is perhaps a little fortunate. It is only yellow.
Well, I think we're going to see this from the replay. There it is. I mean, you just can't do it. I'm assuming that the officials haven't really got a good view of it. There it is. You can't do it. That's a red card, I'm afraid. You know, particularly internationally or anywhere outside of England, it's a red card. You just can't sometimes. Oh, it is a red. We saw a yellow card, didn't we, in the referee's hand?
Well, we did. Apologies for the confusion, but Wayne Rooney has been sent off.
The only hope he's got is if, you know, an official doesn't see it. It's just been a couple of moments before that where he'd given the ball away and just looked like he just didn't react where he normally might. And I almost came and said, Rooney's matured. He hasn't snapped back now when he normally does. Well, good job I didn't say it, because he just couldn't help himself, Adrian. The game was just going away from England a little bit. He's up front, he's a little frustrated, he hasn't seen the ball for a little while, he's given a couple of loose passes, a couple of loose touches, and it just snaps.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what the end result of that all is, because England, of course, won't have another competitive game unless they get dragged into the playoff picture until the Euro 2012 finals. A moment where the red mist descended for Wayne Rooney. Now Montenegro trying to take advantage of their man advantage. All those questions about Rooney's mental state seemed rather silly, didn't they, the way he was playing early on, but they're undoubtedly going to surface now again, Robbie. It's almost inevitable.
It will, but I can't imagine that it's anything to do with, you know, the investigation into his father's situation. People will talk about that, and I don't think so. I think everything was fine with Wayne Rooney. He wasn't having a great game, but he seemed in control of himself. It was just one incident, he just snapped. I'm sure he immediately regrets it and thinks, what have I just done? You can't get away with it nowadays, and there's another change here from England.
Well, time for Danny Welbeck, who many felt might get the starting nod tonight alongside Wayne Rooney. It was Darren Bent instead, and now with neither of them out there, Fabio Capello does need at least one genuine front runner out there. Danny Welbeck comes on to earn just his second cap. And the evening is not ending at all comfortably for Fabio Capello here in the Montenegrin rain. Still a quarter of an hour to try and negotiate here.
Danny Welbeck's going to be the lone striker. 4-4-1 now for England. Stuart Downing, as you see there, has switched across to the right-hand side. I think Alex is going to allow Gareth Barry, the left-footed player, just to drift across and play the left side of a four with Scott Parker and Frank Lampard. And there's Gareth Barry right there, so I guess they're going to be a little bit lopsided.
Sveratic. Well, it was a fit of petulance, really, wasn't it, from Rooney? Needless.
And really, when you look at the second half, and it's kind of a bit typical of England, isn't it? That they don't keep the ball as well as they could do. There's always something that goes on, a little bit of petulance, or somebody getting in trouble with the referee, a red card. Kind of the same story for England. It should have been an easy cruise, this game, but all of a sudden now for Montenegro, they've got to go for this game. Got an extra man. And the point is going to be crucial for them as well.
Group E will be our destination on Tuesday. Sweden against the Netherlands. Final day of group play in Euro 2012 qualification. Danny Welbeck showing for the ball. It's going to be a big ask of the 20-year-old, isn't it? Winning just his second cap. It's been so bright for Manchester United early on in this domestic campaign. It's his first competitive game, played in the friendly against Ghana last March. Shirt grab there on Danny Welbeck by Jovanovic. This is the last card in the deck available to Branko Brnovic. It's going to be Deli Basic, hugely experienced striker who's only recently become a factor for Montenegro. He's played for quite a few years in the top flight in Spain, though. Deli Basic, there he is. He's now with newly promoted Rayo Vallecano. And it's Bozovic, another defender whose sacrificer they are. Going to throw everything at it in a bid to get this equaliser inside the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, rightly so. Indicating there with his three fingers, just going to play three at the back. Deli Basic will go up front with Vucinic. Damjanovic as well. All the attacking weapons are out there now for Montenegro, as you'd expect. They've got to go for it 10 minutes or so to play in a game to try and get an equalising goal.
Can England survive this test? Fabio Capello wondering, I'm sure, just how has it come to this? Really the most remote of possibilities after 30 minutes that we'd be looking at this sort of scenario.
I guess, Adrian, if it continues like this and it ends 2-1, then, you know, the drama will be averted. It would be 3 great points for England, and stuff will get forgotten about, and I guess a few cracks papered over, but it hasn't been particularly good from England. They've still got 10 minutes here just to try and manage the game, to hold on. I guess even if Montenegro score, they will qualify, so it will be job done, but it hasn't been comfortable at all.
Capello preaching that he was coming for a win and nothing less. There's Welbeck. Dancing his way through a couple of challenges and still going, Danny Welbeck, and that's exactly what Capello needed from his substitute.
It really is. Great play here from Danny Welbeck. Great composure there. There wasn't a ball on, so he took it forward, took a couple of players on. It was a really good run.
Well, Lampard standing over this. Scott Parker too. Nervous whistles from the crowd as Lampard prepares to hit it. It's deflected off the wall. And England will have to settle for the corner.
I'm not sure how many players they'll send up here, England, for this set piece. I can't see many. Is that John Terry coming in? Only one England player in the box up to this point.
Lampard's corner. Just tipped away. Well, there, latching onto it was Stuart Downing. Keeper was stranded.
It goes down as a chance. Stuart obviously left-footed, but even so, it's on the volley. It's sitting up for him. He comes onto the ball nicely. Better there to hit the target.
It's Deli Basic, his first contribution. Jovetic, Vucinic, and Scott Parker with the well-timed intervention. Back come Montenegro though, Savic picking it up. Jovetic, who scored a couple of goals against Liverpool once in in a Champions League game for Fiorentina. Savic, open header, away from Barry, and a miss-hit follow-up shot which may still turn into something, but Arch is there to put out the flames.
Well, Scott Parker put them out just moments before that with a great clearance right in the middle of the centre half. It's good ball in the back post here. Phil Jones beaten. And there he goes. Oh, it's Gareth Barry there with a clearance. Nervy moments for England at the back there, and that's what you have to do if you're Montenegro. Put a few balls in there. We know it's slippery and it's not easy.
Yeah, facing his own goal. That was a tremendous clearance from Gareth Barry. Still plenty of time, though, for the home side. Carve out a point, which would mean all the difference for them. Jovanovic. Jovetic. Another header and a hook shot with his back to goal. What an opportunity it was for Damjanovic. Would have been a goal that we talked about for a long, long time here.
I expected him to score here. I think he's offside, isn't he? I think as that ball is nodded back, I think he's offside, whether the flag went up or not, but even so, he doesn't know that. It looks difficult, but I tell you what, if you're a forward, I think you fancy your chances to score from there. Great achievement, isn't it? You know, the size of this country, to give England, who've been around forever, they've got top Champions League players, experienced international players, and it's been a very difficult night for England. Started off fairly comfortably, but the second half is, England haven't played well, but Montenegro have.
But now, can they get some breathing room? Stuart Downing is leading them forward here. A bobbly pass for Lampard, who returns it. Downing, good position, couldn't pick out Welbeck. Away come up Montenegro. The goal scorer, Zveratic. Vukovic going down. Under a challenge from Scott Parker.
It's a little unnecessary. It's not needed. It was just a little bit lazy, maybe tired defending from Scott Parker. You know what it means now? It means the ball's going to come into the box probably with pace, maybe in swinging. All because of a clumsy challenge from Scott Parker.
Anxious moments for the English defence. Vukovic delivering. Hunting down the loose ball quickest, but a giveaway though. There was no outlet for Gareth Barry as the pressure is applied again. Pekovic. Still Pekovic driving it low, and it needed the touch from Joe Hart. It looked for just a fraction of a second as if it was going to get past him.
Well, it did, didn't it? I think that would have surprised us all if it would have gone in, but it looked like it was going in, and Joe Hart just scooping the ball almost, didn't he, past his left-hand post there.
Corner is very deep. There's a man beyond the far post struggling to stay on his feet. Zveratic. Jovetic. Damjanovic. Falls for Jovetic. They're trying to carve over some space. They've done so. Jovetic goes down, and the penalty is given this time. Well, Jovetic has gone down again, at this time from a stray arm.
I think that was from the referee. Pulling him away.
Well, it's still not clear
what the referee's decision was here.
It was brilliant play, I know that.
Now,
is there a block off from John Terry? Is there contact? Doesn't look like a lot of contact, does there, from John Terry? Jovetic takes the little bit of contact, goes to ground. Brilliant play, though, I have to say, from him initially.
He didn't give the penalty. That was my suspicion. Jovetic was booked for simulation. Referee Wolfgang Stark is entirely clear from his signalling what was going on. It's needs no second guessing, does it? A head collision there between Jovanovic and Danny Welbeck.
Bit of a nightmare, isn't it, for Milan Jovanovic, who's come into this game. He's picked up his yellow card, so he's suspended for the last game on Tuesday. Now he's clashed his head. Danny Welbeck there, looks like he's going to be okay. Yeah, that was a close call, wasn't it, for England at the back. Brilliant bit of play from Stefan Jovetic, I know that. Clever little through ball, scooped over the top and just brushed past John Terry. Went to ground, wasn't enough contact, was it? And I thought the referee, like you, had given that.
But actually, upon closer inspection, I think he got that right. I think the close call before that, if anything, was more of a penalty. One England were perhaps lucky to avoid.
Yeah, I think so. Phil Jones was the first one, wasn't it, with the desperate lunge in from behind, I thought clipped him. That one, the referee again. The referee was close. I mean, he's been right on the spot. The Wayne Rooney thing, you think he's 5 yards away from Wayne Rooney as he lashed out and got the red card.
Jovanovic. Still going to be 3 minutes of stoppage time for Montenegro. An equaliser means everything to them. Savic's delivery is superb, and they've got that equaliser. Dele Basic is the super sub, and he is a Montenegrin hero. That could be the goal that takes them to the Euro qualifying playoffs.
Well, you've got to say they've deserved it. There's going to be yellow cards here, isn't there, surely, for leaving the field of play without the referee's permission, but they don't care. You're absolutely right. This could be the big, big goal for Montenegro. Yes, they've got the playoffs to come if it stays like this in this game. But it's a tremendous fight back in this second half. England allowed it. Fingers will be pointed at Wayne Rooney for his team going down to 10 men. But this is a brilliant ball in to the back post, and the substitutions paid off for the coach. All the attacking players come on. And there he is. We talked about the experience of Dele Basic. Rayo Vallecano in Spain. He's in the right place at the right time. What a ball that is. The goalkeeper's taken out of it. Gary Cahill there is taken out of it as well. Makes no mistake, and in the dying seconds of the game, they're on the verge of the playoffs.
Andrea Dele Basic at the age of 30, winning just his 4th cap tonight for Montenegro. It's his 2nd goal for the country, and it could well be the biggest goal in his country's short history. They've come from 2 goals down. It has ended, I can tell you, in Wales, with Wales beating Switzerland by 2-0. So a draw here will be enough for Montenegro. It will also be enough for England, we shouldn't forget, to win the group outright. It'll be a fairly unsatisfactory, though, manner of winning the group, I imagine.
Yeah, it will be. You know, and people will look at this particular game, they'll look at the ins and outs of the game, they'll look at Wayne Rooney's red card, but I think the qualification process is never an easy one, though it's expected to be easy for England. And I think they're going to get the point now to secure their avenue into the finals in Poland and Ukraine. But it's all about Montenegro right now, Adrian, isn't it? It's a great atmosphere, and a great credit to them for really driving at the game and going for it in the last 20 minutes of this one.
It was Andrea Dele Basic, who I think crashed into the post in the act of scoring. Still feeling it in the right arm. I think, and Fabio Capello just want the final whistle now because, of course, one more goal conceded. We put Montenegro back in position to overhaul England. We've had the 3 minutes of stoppage time.
There'll be a few more seconds for that goal celebration, maybe another 45 seconds, because that may be a minute. I'd be surprised if Montenegro are going to go all out for the victory. I know what you mean. If they win the 2 games, they will qualify in first place, no playoffs needed. But I think of this situation, they're going to be delighted, absolutely delighted with a point if it stays this way now. Last few seconds.
And there is the final whistle. Fabio Capello's men limp away from Podgorica. In one sense, it is job done. They needed a point. They got a point. And the scoreline hides a different story of this game. One that involved a remarkable comeback for the tiny nation of Montenegro. And the headline news will inevitably revolve around one Wayne Rooney.
Well, it will. It will. And you know, and it was a silly thing to do, but England have got it. They've got the point that they wanted, they needed, and Montenegro absolutely delighted. The big loser, I guess, in this particular match day is Switzerland. They couldn't win there in Wales, and now the result has gone against them here. Tuesday's game means nothing. Montenegro are going to finish second in this group and into the playoffs with a real chance. You said it, it's a difficult place to come to. We've seen the stadium, it's not a big one, good atmosphere, a difficult surface. They've got every chance in a 2-legged affair getting to Poland and Ukraine.
What a night here for this young footballing nation who are now just 2 games away from appearing at a major final for the first time. That's what this draw has earned them. They await, or have to await, and see who they're up against when it comes to those European qualifying playoffs. But I think we mentioned it in commentary, Robbie, not many teams will fancy coming here for the away part of that test against Montenegro. Particularly with that sort of sight awaiting them.
I'm sure the players are going to get in without their football kit intact. Fans taking some of the turf as well.
Well, mementos needed on a night that will live on a long, long time here in Montenegro. We'll be back with some final thoughts here. It ends Montenegro 2, England 2.
Brazil's World Soccer Tour continues as they bring their Jogo Bonito to Costa Rica. Watch as the 5-time world champions take on the Ticos in San Jose at the Estadio Nacional. Don't miss Costa Rica, Brazil today, live on ESPN.
The Sooners continue their quest for a national title, while the Longhorns are out to prove that Texas football is back in a season-defining Red River rivalry. Oklahoma, Texas, live Sunday on ESPN. College football lives here.
The biggest fight of their poker lives continues. The World Series of Poker 2011 main event. It's a whole new season with more analysis and more strategy. Taking you further inside the pursuit of an $8.7 million dream. But getting to the game's highest mountaintop won't be an easy climb.
Good luck, man.
The World Series of Poker 2011 main event. Sunday on ESPN. Don't miss the next Aussies Abroad, direct from the Ironman World Championships in Kona, Hawaii, as we sit down with Craig Alexander.
For me, consistency is the mark of a great athlete.
And reigning women's champ Barinda Carfrae.
I deserve this crown too.
Exclusive interviews, post-race reactions, and more. Join co-host Chris McCormick.
I'll tell you who's going to win and why.
On an Aussies Abroad 90-minute special. Wednesday, only on ESPN.
It's the NFL on ESPN. This week, it's a showcase of elite NFC clubs. Aaron Rodgers and the champion Packers invade Atlanta to battle the Falcons. Then on Monday Night Football, it's an NFC North showdown when the Bears take on the undefeated Lions. Packers, Falcons, live Monday. Bears, Lions on Monday Night Football.
The WNBA Finals. Top rookie Maya Moore leads the Minnesota Lynx in their first title run against Angel McCoughtry and the Atlanta Dream. Lynx Dream Game 3 live today on ESPN2.
The ATP World Tour Masters 1000 heads to China for the Shanghai Rolex Masters. It's an all-star event in one of the great stops on the tour. Plus, with 4 spots open for the Barclays World Tour Finals, it's added pressure for the great men of the ATP. The stars are set to shine in China. The ATP Shanghai Rolex Masters. Coverage begins live Monday on ESPN.
Oh, welcome back to Podgorica. Some of the fans still celebrating on the pitch, and why not after a famous night for Montenegro. This is how it all unfolded, and how long ago this seems when England were in command early on, almost ahead after 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's a good play, wasn't it, from Phil Jones? Just a regulation cross in. The goalkeeper, Bozovic, makes a mess of it.
But then the English fans didn't have that much longer to wait. A thing of simplicity and beauty it was. Walcott onto the head of Ashley Young.
Yeah, great ball in. Just one touch out of his feet there for Theo Walcott, and a really good ball. It's bending away from the goalkeeper. Fairly simple header in the end for Ashley Young.
And they made this look very simple too, didn't they? Rooney to Young to bench. And Montenegro carved open. England 2-0 to the good.
Absolutely cruising at this point, weren't they? And that was just good concentration out of finishing that off on a difficult surface. Absolutely in control.
But this proved to be, I feel, the pivotal moment in the game. Montenegro getting a goal back just before the break, literally the last kick of the first half from Zveritic.
Well, it was, and he gets a lot of time here inside the boxes. John Terry's too far away. Cahill there tries to come across and block it. He just gets the block, takes it past his own keeper.
That gave Montenegro all the encouragement they need, and they launched attack after attack at the start of the second half. That was Besiraj, who was busy.
Yeah, he was. This is a comfortable save for Joe Hart, but oh goodness, wasn't Joe Hart a lot busier in the second half?
Big shout for a penalty here, Robbie. 51 minutes in, Jones with a clumsy tackle on Jovetic.
Yeah, I thought this one was. Phil Jones just a little too slow. It's just the second part of that collision, isn't it? I think he just trips him and gets away with it.
Then into the final stages. The urgency increasing for the home side. They knew a goal would take them into the playoffs. They thought Damjanovic was going to provide one.
Yeah, I thought he was offside. Not sure whether the flag went up or not, but still, 6 yards out, overhead kick. Very close, and he realises.
But the dramatic final act happened in stoppage time. The weight of the cross was really a dream, wasn't it, for Delibasic, who rose to meet it.
Well, he did, and what's impressive, look at the post, it's right there. He has to do well to keep his eye on the ball, to head it in, and then avoid hitting his head against the post there. And of course, that sparked the celebrations here that were memorable. I'm sure will last long into the night as well with the fans.
So everyone a winner on the night. England through, Montenegro through to the playoffs.